Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Scoreboard. We've made it. It is Monday. And you know what we do on Mondays. We fill you in on everything that went on in the world of sports. Yes, for the next hour. You got me here talking about the world of sports with you. Local sports, national sports, high school. We have Major League Baseball going on as we speak. It is game 2 of the NLCS between the New York Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Currently, we are in the top of the 3rd inning, and the New York Mets have jumped out to a 6-0 lead. Very big difference than yesterday, how the game went between the Mets and the Dodgers. It was completely reversed, with the Dodgers winning that game 9-0 to open up the series. A reminder for you, in the Major League Baseball world, we are in the LCS, all right? The League Championship Series. These are now best of 7 series. So first team to win 4 games before losing 4 games moves on to participate in the World Series. It looks like we are going to be going to the bottom of the 3rd with the same score, by the way. Now, as we always do here on the Scoreboard, I will continue to give you updates as we go through the show, what I'm seeing with baseball, because we have the opportunity to do that with a live event going on. Now, if you're watching on the WSIC News app, or Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching, you may notice that I am sitting down today. Yes, I am on the IR. I am on the injured list today. I play some rec league deck hockey just for fun, you know. No rollerblades, just your feet and a stick, a couple of nets. Some people looking to have a good time. And, on Sunday in the second game, I rolled my ankle. Pretty bad. It does hurt. It hurts. Yesterday, man, I was taking some photos of how swollen my ankle was getting. Oh, yeah, it's not looking good. So I will not be on my feet walking around during this show. I am going to have to sit down and do it. Just a little side note for you. We got a good show in store for you today, though. A lot of information to go over. We talked about Major League Baseball. The LCSs are going on. 2 baseball games today. Yes, 2. We got the Mets and the Dodgers happening right now, and then later on at 7:30, it'll be the Cleveland Guardians, not the Indians anymore, the Guardians, taking on the New York Yankees. That'll be game 1 of the ALCS. It'll be on TBS. And if you're interested, it's a 7:38. A lot of 8s on these first pitches. Remember, it was last series, they were all like 6:08 and 8:08. Now we had a 4:08 start and a 7:38 start. I gotta love the weird times on baseball first pitches. But other than baseball, there's a lot going on in the world of sports. The high school football scene continued on Friday night. We will go over a lot of schools in our immediate area, see how they're doing, and we may even speak to a soccer coach later on today and possibly some more volleyball action for you as we get closer and closer to the volleyball playoffs. Now, the regular season for a lot of teams in our area in volleyball has ended. We don't have volleyball seeding happen until next week. So just keep that in mind. The seeding will come out on a Sunday. We'll be able to talk about it Monday. And then the first round is exactly 8 days from now for volleyball. And then we get into basketball and football playoffs. And man, there's going to be a lot going on in the remaining months of the year. So we will get into the high school scene quite a bit. We also want to talk about the world of NASCAR. The NASCAR Cup Series heading to the Bank of America Roval 400 from the Charlotte Roval. And it was a dominating performance by Kyle Larson. And I don't know if I want to call it controversial or not, but a driver has been disqualified You might not know this. You might not be aware of this because it doesn't happen immediately on the broadcast. But after the race ends, after Fox or NBC, or next year it'll be TNT and Amazon, after they go off air, there's still post-race inspection. And I'm not sure if everybody's aware of it because it's not something that they say on a broadcast. You actually have to seek this information out. Well, it was announced that one of the drivers that had advanced to the round of 8 failed their post-race inspection and as a result got disqualified and does not have the amount of points needed to be in the round of 8. I'm not going to give it away just yet. Let's call it a tease. You got to wait. We are going to talk about NASCAR a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to talk college football and the NFL today because that's two of the most popular sports in the area. We had some great football on Saturday. Oregon and Ohio State, new Big Ten rivals. Penn State with an insane second half comeback against USC to take that one in overtime. You have Alabama, who just barely, and I mean just barely, came back from their loss against Vanderbilt with a win against South Carolina. There was an onside kick recovered in this game late by South Carolina. It was touch and go for Alabama for a little bit, but they got the job done. A couple of high opponents in Ole Miss, number 9, LSU, number 13, squared off yesterday. Notre Dame continued to win football games as they beat Stanford. So we are going to talk a little, maybe even a little Heisman voting, because I know that's a very popular thing. And I'll tell you what, there's only one person that I think should be getting any consideration for the Heisman right now. It's the middle of October. We still got plenty of time left. But if you're looking for a front runner, it's only one person. It's Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. That running back currently has 1,200 yards and 17 touchdowns on the year through 6 football games. 6. And not only that, he has not played every quarter of every game. When Boise State gets out to a big lead, he kind of takes a seat on the sideline. Comparing his stats this year to last year, there is no comparison. He has already almost matched his total from last year, averaging 9.9 yards per attempt. Man. So we'll talk some college football. We'll get into the NFL as well. You know that there is always NFL news. The Panthers taking on a division rival in the Falcons. How did they fare? Are they going to continue to be in contention here? I mean, they're not really in contention going into this game, but I thought, if you get a win, maybe, just maybe, you could start to get some momentum and keep yourself in the talks of maybe a division win. That wasn't meant to be. So we'll get into the Carolina Panthers a little bit later on as well. But we're going to head to our first commercial break of the day. When we return, we'll turn our attention to the gridiron of high school sports. High school football coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, kicking off a new work week in much cooler weather. Even chilly, we'll call it, on the way as we get into the middle of the week. Much cooler today, even sunshines. Temperatures climb into the low 70s. We'll fall back into the low 40s tonight. High temperatures not even getting out of the 60s tomorrow. In a couple of mornings, we could be even dipping down into the upper 30s across parts of Lake Norman. Get ready. The chill is on the way. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Lost Worlds Brewing Company in Cornelius presents their Sunday Fun Day on October 20th. Fleetwood Mac tribute band The Chain and Untethered Soul with frontman Nick Prestia take the stage for a day of live music. Lost Worlds Brewing is ready to welcome a big crowd to their back parking lot with a concert stage and sound system from Waves Entertainment. Lost Worlds off West Catawba Avenue in Cornelius presents Sunday Fun Day with an outdoor concert on October 20th. Monthly trivia with the WSIC gang is back at Micaiah's in Mooresville on October 22nd. Join us at Micaiah's off exit 33 from I-77 for Halloween-themed trivia on Tuesday night, October 22nd at 8 p.m. Trivia winners will receive a family 4-pack of tickets to the Renaissance Festival. Have some October spooky season fun with WSIC on-air hosts and try to win Renfest tickets with Halloween trivia Tuesday, October 22nd at Micaiah's in Mooresville. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals on the 6th of November through the 9th. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series in a title-deciding 4-day showcase of on-track action, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single-day and 4-day ticket packages and camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track on the 6th of November through the 9th. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back, Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. Jousting, knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons, oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
Fernhill Baptist Church is a traditional, fundamental congregation located in Troutman. Hear them Sunday mornings at 8:15 here on WSIC. Listen on demand, WSICFM.com.
It ain't easy being number one.
But we make it look good.
WSIC.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Segment number 2 here on the Scoreboard. 844-STUDIO-4 is the phone number. If you have something you want to chat about, I'm here for you. And I will be here for you for the next, let's call it 41 minutes. Let's call it 41. We're going to get into high school football real quick. Started the show previewing some of the topics for today. But one of the big ones that we always cover on the Scoreboard are your high school sports, local high schools in some good spots here in the area, in the greater Lake Norman area, even up in Iredell County, northern Iredell County. We have some good programs, maybe not all in football, but just generally the world of sports here in the area. The high school scene is cooking right now. We are going to start things in the Mooresville area with Mooresville High School. They are 6-1 heading into this week as they were able to get a win on Friday night against South Iredell High School on the road. Now, we talked to South Iredell High School. This is now, I believe, the 4th coach and player that we've had in studio. And, yeah, they seem to lose the next week. I don't know if it's my fault. If it is my fault, I apologize. We do have a caller here into the studio, so we're going to pause the high school talk and see what we have going on our phone lines. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Scoreboard. What do you have for me today?
Yes, my name's Larry Talbert, and I have a lot of wood it's a maple tree that's been cut into like logs in front of my home, and I'm willing to give it to anybody that wants it.
Well, sir, are you looking for the home ad show?
For the who?
For the home ad show?
Yes.
Okay, so if you would call back tomorrow, this is currently the scoreboard. We're talking local sports right now, but if you can call tomorrow morning between 9 and 11, that is when the Home Ad Show will be on.
Thank you, sir. I'm so sorry.
No, not a problem at all. We'll talk to you tomorrow, all right?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right, have a good one. Okay, no problem there. Somebody looking for the Home Ad Show, we're all good. Let's head into that high school talk. Mooresville is who we brought up as they took on South Iredell High School. It was up in Troutman at South Iredell High School's home stadium. 28-9, the final score in this game as as Mooresville High School was able to get it done and increase their record on the season to 6-1. They are now 3-0 in conference, which makes them the leader of the Greater Metro 4A football conference. West Cabarrus also has 3 wins on the year, but they have one more conference game than Mooresville does up to this point, which has given Mooresville that 100% winning percentage, which puts them first in the conference. But there's still a long way to go before we, really shake down these conference standings. Mooresville has 3 games remaining in their season. They play West Cabarrus coming up this weekend, or this Friday, I should say, A.L. Brown, and then they end the season, as always, against Lake Norman. This year, Mooresville will be the host. 6-1 is Mooresville. Now let's jump over to South Iredell, their opponents. The loss to Mooresville gives South Iredell a 4-3 record and a 2-1 record in the conference. Still a pretty good year right now going for South Iredell. I wouldn't count them out just yet, as they also still have 3 games remaining on the season: A.L. Brown, Lake Norman, and Cox Mill. That game against A.L. Brown for South Iredell, by the way, if you remember the conversation we had with the coach and players over there, it is homecoming for South Iredell against A.L. Brown. So a homecoming game. Hopefully able to get, always good to win those homecoming games. But South Iredell dropping to 4-3 on the year. They are now 3-1 in their last 4 matches. That 3-game winning streak that they had really put them in a good spot here. But they are 4-3. So a few more wins on the season, and I would expect South Iredell to be fighting for some postseason play. Currently, South Iredell is ranked as the 108th best school in the country, or in the state of North Carolina, for football, as they are 4-1. Moving on back down to that Mooresville area, let's get into some Lake Norman High School information. They are 5-2 now on the year, as they were able to defeat Hickory Ridge High School 42-14 this Friday night. The win does move Lake Norman to 2-1 in their conference, tied with South Iredell, half game behind West Cabarrus, and a half game behind A.L. Brown. There is a game between Lake Norman and South Iredell coming up in a few weeks. That's going to be 2 weeks from now. That is going to be a very big game in terms of conference standings, overall standings, who's going to be getting playoff bids and whatnot. So we'll continue to monitor. But Lake Norman High School, 5-2. They don't, and I haven't been out to see a Lake Norman football game quite yet this year, but they don't seem as threatening for some reason as they were last year. Last year, if you remember the 2023-24 season, they went through that regular season almost undefeated, losing the final regular season game of the season to Mooresville, and then dropping a game to Independence. It was the first game of the playoffs, and Independence was ranked somewhere in the 20s, if you can remember that. And they ended up making a pretty good run into the Final Fours. But just it's something about this Lake Norman team. When you look at the loss that they suffered earlier to Statesville High School, that was a big loss and a real tone setter for the year. I need to get out and see Lake Norman play, actually, to really give an evaluation on them. But I would say, just looking at box scores and who they've beaten, how they've beaten them, something about this Lake Norman squad, they just don't feel as threatening as they have in years past. They'll be taking on Cox Mill High School, 7 o'clock this coming Friday. And then, like I said, that game against South Iredell and the season ender against Mooresville. Lake Norman has a tough schedule to end the season. But before they get into those last two games, which are going to be tough ones, they play Cox Mill, who is currently 0-7 on the year, having just a real rough football season. Now, they weren't this bad last year. They were 5-6, so hovering around 500. But this year, things have really taken a turn for the worse for Cox Mill. Look, it was just 2 years ago, back in the 2022 season, that they were 9-3, and they were participating in the playoffs a few years ago, winning a game against Lake Norman, taking on Weddington. But now Cox Mill finds themselves 0-7. Speaking of Statesville High Schools, we talked about their win against Lake Norman. They got yet another win this last weekend. They took on West Iredell, and for the second Friday night in a row, Statesville High School allowed 0 points to their opponents. They shut out Ford 21-0, and they shut out West Iredell on the road 26-0. That is back-to-back road shutouts for Statesville High School. That's pretty impressive. Coming up on a home game, they finally get to come back home after that 2-game stint on the road against North Iredell. It'll be this Friday. And then they get St. Stephen's, and the toughest game of the year for them is going to be that Hickory High School battle. Hickory currently 7-0, and they look like one of the, if not the best team in the state of North Carolina. I know they're a 3A school, and you got to give a lot of love to those 4A programs, especially the ones down in Charlotte. But man, Hickory High School for 2 years in a row right now has been the team to beat in 3A. Hickory High School has not had a game where they scored less than 34 points as a team. Just let that one sink in for you. So Statesville, we will continue to cover them. That last game of the season on the road against Hickory is going to be huge. Now, I do want to shout out the other directional Iredell schools in our area. I know not a lot of them are doing great in football this year, but North Iredell, 3-4. Their most recent game was against Hickory. That, like we said, it was going to be a tough one, especially coming after a Monday game on the road against North Lincoln. Now they get back to normal, and they take on Statesville on the road this coming Friday, but a 3-4 record for North Iredell. West Iredell not faring as well either. They have 4 games remaining in their season and currently sit at 2 wins and 4 losses after they got blanked by Statesville High School. Pine Lake Prep, my alma mater, they had a 2-game winning streak to bring them to 500 or close to 500 earlier in the year, but now they've dropped 2 in a row. Most recently this past Friday, a 34-14 loss to Bishop McGinnis High School. That is the local football scene for you. We will continue to cover that as we go throughout the week. Tomorrow, we're probably going to be covering soccer, get you looped back into who the teams to beat in the area are going to be, as soccer is coming to a close shortly. Now, the volleyball season has ended, the regular season, as we spoke about earlier, so we'll continue to monitor, and I'll have those brackets for you. Almost drew a blank there. I'll have those brackets for you once they become available. But we got to head to our next commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into the football field of college and professional sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, kicking off a new work week in much cooler weather. Even chilly, we'll call it, on the way as we get into the middle of the week. Much cooler today, even sunshine. As temperatures climb into the low 70s. We'll fall back into the low 40s tonight. High temperatures not even getting out of the 60s tomorrow. In a couple of mornings, we could be even dipping down into the upper 30s across parts of Lake Norman. Get ready. The chill is on the way. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, this is Susan. I'm excited to let you know that Lake Mountain Coffee is now available for private events. Our beautiful historic building with its 360-degree mezzanine has hosted many private parties, catered diners, and even an actual wedding. Please contact Andy at 704-252-1886 for more information. Thank you so much.
Drum Landscape Supply is the go-to spot for anything you need for your yard. Transform your landscaping. Drum Landscape Supply has trees, flowers, natural stone, custom blended grass seed, mulch, and more. Plus, they deliver. DrumLandscapeSupply.com.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
If you need home medical equipment, call Lowry Drug in Statesville. We have everything you need in stock, including portable oxygen concentrators, CPAPs, masks, lift chairs, wheelchairs, scooters, hospital beds, supplies, and anything else you need. Get it when you need it. Check out LowryDrug.com or call 704-873-2247. Lowry Drug, your hometown source since 1959, across from Iredell Memorial Hospital. We are worth the drive. Come see us.
Conversations that matter.
I gotta tell you, I'm afraid to even think about the next presidential election.
Led by you.
It's a mockery of American politics.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. When Kyler Murray was selected in the first rounds of both the MLB and NFL drafts, he was forced to make a choice about which sport he would pursue. Though some thought he could play in both leagues, experts said there was ultimately an either-or decision. Each of us faces either-or decisions as well. Being a follower of Jesus requires a commitment to choose to be all in on his way. However, when our mind is split and we're distracted by what the world offers, we're no longer fully focused on Jesus. Matthew 6:24 says, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Today, instead of going back and forth between life with God and living life our own way, let's choose to be all in and fully devoted to Him. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to unpackingit.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. More records for Wall Street. The Dow reached a new high, up 201 points, close to 0.5%. The S&P posted its 46th record of the year, up 45 points, or 0.75%. The NASDAQ did not hit a new high, but did finish up 160 points, close to 0.9%. NVIDIA is among today's big winners after the company's CEO said their Blackwell AI chip is in full production and demand is, quote, insane. NVIDIA shares closed with a record, up 2.5%. Adobe is out with new artificial intelligence tools that can create and modify videos. It joins other big tech companies like OpenAI, Meta, and Alphabet that are trying to capitalize on demand for the emerging technology. One feature integrated into Adobe's video editing software, Premiere, will let users extend video clips using generative AI. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Scoreboard. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. We're going to get into some more football. We did high school on the other side of the break, but now we got to get into the college world and the professional world because the Carolina Panthers were in action this last weekend against the Falcons, a division rivalry. Final score of that game, well, 38-20. It was a tough one. Now, the Panthers went into halftime only down 5. It was a weird score. And I knew this was going to be a weird score game. Now, 38-20 is less weird than what it could have been. But the score at half was 22-17. It was a weird score, right? Weird score. In the second half, the Panthers only put a field goal on the board, and it just really went downhill. The passing went downhill. Defense started getting in trouble. And then in the fourth, it just kind of all fell apart for the Panthers. A touchdown run by Tyler Algier to really lock things up late. And then another field goal to top it all off, make it an 18-point victory for the Atlanta Falcons. The Panthers, they fall to 1-5 on the year. Their next game is going to be coming up this Sunday. It's another 4 o'clock game. Could you believe that? Can you believe that the Panthers are not playing at 1 o'clock? Yes, it's another 4 o'clock game. It'll be against the Washington Commanders, and it'll be in Washington. I like the Commanders as a team this year. I think they are very entertaining, and I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a star. I really do. He's going to be a superstar in this league. And, the Panthers, they're just kind of going to move along. I think we can officially say that we are at the point in the season where we're just going to hope for a draft pick. Because what else are they playing for right now? Bryce Young's not in, so we're not developing him. Half your defense is hurt. You got the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, leading the squad. Where are the positives this year? And I'm curious if the Panthers continue to lose and if they continue to not put up good showings, does Dave Canales lose his job? Is that another head coach that we're going to go through here in Carolina? Or have we learned our lesson and said, you know what, let's give him some time to mold with the team? Now, it's not going to happen in 1 week. It takes a while for that to happen. But in the meantime, the Panthers end up dropping yet another game to a division rival. The Atlanta Falcons, 38-20 was the final score in that one. There were some other pretty decent games this weekend in the NFL. Man, did you watch the Lions and the Cowboys? That was not a good game unless you're a Lions fan or a Cowboy hater. 47-9 was the final score. The Cowboys have been getting destroyed at home recently, going all the way back to the wild card even of last year. The Texans put up 41 on the Patriots. That was a big one there. The Texans really starting to show that they are not a team to mess with in the AFC this year. You also had the Ravens and the Commanders going up against each other. That was probably the biggest eye candy of the weekend in terms of teams going up against each other. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry on that team too. It lived up to the hype. It was a really decent game. Now, I will say it doesn't help the cause when you have late touchdowns being scored the way they did for the Commanders. Now, yeah, they did cut it down to 7, but a field goal with 2.5 left, it's garbage time in my opinion. Yeah, it's not over yet, but it is what it is. The Commanders drop to 4-2 as they lose to the Ravens 30-23. Now, if that wasn't the game of the weekend in the NFL is actually going to be coming up tonight. You have an interdivision rival AFC East matchup between the Bills of Buffalo and the Jets It's going to be in MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. So Buffalo traveling, but an 8:15 start time. Here is my favorite thing in the world about this game between the Bills and the Jets. If the Jets win, they will be 3-3, and they will be leading their division. A week removed from firing their head coach, a week removed from all the turmoil, all the analysts saying, oh my goodness, this team's going downhill. But if the Jets win today, they're leading the division. It's kind of insane when you think about it. It really is. That the Jets, a team that was in this much trouble in the offseason, this much trouble last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, now they're firing their coach. They have Aaron Rodgers. They should be good. They lose their coach, and now they have a chance to be number one in the division. I mean, it boggles my mind. It really does. But the Bills and the Jets coming up tonight at 8:30. Now, it's Monday night. It will be on ESPN. So if you're unable to get streaming, if you don't have streaming, don't worry. It's on ESPN tonight. There was some really, really good NCAA action this weekend. Two of the games that I had my eye on from the start, and I think, first of all, in all of this, LSU beating Ole Miss got overshadowed this weekend. It did. Because you have other games like Alabama and South Carolina. Maybe it doesn't sound sexy, but you have Alabama coming off of that loss to Vanderbilt. Lenore Sellers and South Carolina coming into town, SEC rivals, maybe trying to kick Alabama while they're down. And Alabama's up at the end of the game here, and a touchdown scored by South Carolina. And then, get this. This is where it all went crazy to me. An onside kick was recovered by South Carolina. They were able to get it done. They recovered the onside kick, and then really just poor management of the clock, poor calls. You know, there was that play, that first down play after the onside kick where the ball was batted in the air and a lineman decided to catch it. Listen, I'm not a head coach. I'm not. But if I was, I would tell all my linemen, I don't care how much green grass there is in front of you. If a ball gets batted in the air and is up for grabs, you do not catch it. You knock it to the ground. I do not care the situation. I don't care how many people are around you. You knock it down because linemen, you're not supposed to be carrying the football. You're not. And then you had Ohio State and Oregon coming down to the wire. Ohio State, man, I feel bad for the quarterback for Ohio State. Will Howard, with 6 seconds to go in the game, drops back, scrambles. He gets down. I'm pretty sure he knew the situation and how quick they needed the play to go. There were 6 seconds left, but he took just a half second too long. The time ran out. Ohio State was unable to kick a field goal, and Oregon gets the victory in the first divisional matchup, conference matchup between the Buckeyes and the Ducks, Oregon and Ohio State. We got one more segment here on this Monday. We're going to get into the world of NASCAR. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, kicking off a new work week in much cooler weather. Even chilly, we'll call it, on the way as we get into the middle of the week. Much cooler today, even sunshine. Temperatures climb into the low 70s. We'll fall back into the low 40s tonight. High temperatures not even getting out of the 60s tomorrow. In a couple of mornings, we could be even dipping down into the upper 30s across parts of Lake Norman. Get ready. The chill is on the way. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Lost Worlds Brewing Company in Cornelius presents their Sunday Fun Day on October 20th. Fleetwood Mac tribute band The Chain and Untethered Soul with frontman Nick Prestia take the stage for a day of live music. Lost Worlds Brewing is ready to welcome a big crowd to their back parking lot with a concert stage and sound system from Waves Entertainment. Lost Worlds off West Catawba Avenue in Cornelius presents Sunday Fun Day with an outdoor concert on October 20th. Monthly trivia with the WSIC gang is back at Micaiah's in Mooresville on October 22nd. Join us at Micaiah's off exit 33 from I-77 for Halloween-themed trivia on Tuesday night, October 22nd at 8 p.m. Trivia winners will receive a family 4-pack of tickets to the Renaissance Festival. Have some October spooky season fun with WSIC on-air hosts and try to win Renfest tickets with Halloween trivia Tuesday, October 22nd at Micaiah's in Mooresville. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals on the 6th of November through the 9th. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series in a title-deciding 4-day showcase of on-track action, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single-day and 4-day ticket packages and camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track on the 6th of November through the 9th. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. Jousting knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons, oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
Hey folks, you know Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville is known for the prices and selection, but I tell you what, you may not have known the distinction that this store received with Ford and Lincoln this year. We received the President's Award for 2023 for Ford for the 5th year in a row. We also received it for Lincoln for the 1st year, and I tell you, those awards don't come easily. It all boils down to taking care of the customers and having the vehicles you want in stock for you to buy.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into the world of NASCAR here, man. I got to tell you. I'm ready for them to go back to the oval. I'm sure you are as well. Because it's not the same. 844-STUDIO-4 is the phone number. That's 844-788-3464 if you have something you want to chat about. I'll be here for the next 10 minutes. You don't have much time. But if you want to be a part of the program, feel free to give me a call and chat about anything that's on your mind. We are going to get into NASCAR, both the Xfinity and the Cup Series this year, racing at the Roval. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to defend NASCAR anymore. I don't know if we should defend NASCAR anymore. Let's start with the Xfinity race. Parker Kligerman leading late, looking like the strategy call that they've made is going to work out in his favor, and he is going to win and advance. Not only win and advance, but get his first win as an Xfinity driver. Well, NASCAR had other plans. Now, I will say this. The caution that was thrown out at the end of the Roval, I'm not mad that the caution was thrown. I'm mad about when the caution was thrown. Leland Honeyman in the 42 car on the 2-to-go lap put his car underneath the tire barriers. It looked like he blew a tire or lost the brakes, one or the other. But he went into the infield section of the track and ended up underneath the tire barriers. Now, anybody with half a brain could see that, say, hey, there's a car underneath those tires. It looks pretty mangled. That car is not going to get going on its own. Let's throw a caution. But NASCAR is not that. NASCAR has to make the wrong decision even when they make the right decision. The leaders are on the backstretch chicane when the broadcast shows the car underneath the tires. So I don't know how long he had been under the tires before the broadcast showed it. But they wait. NASCAR waits and waits. They're on the backstretch chicane. Here they come into the final chicane. Is NASCAR going to are they really going to let him take the white flag and finish the race under caution? No, NASCAR is going to throw the caution when Parker Kligerman is 1 inch away from the start-finish line from taking the white flag. Why? I'm not mad that a caution was thrown. It was obvious that it was a caution, okay? You have a driver underneath the tire barrier. That's a caution. Like, no matter how you slice it, you throw the caution for that. So why are we waiting? What is the point in waiting for the drivers to come all the way through the backstretch, do the backstretch chicane, go through NASCAR 3 and 4, hit the front stretch chicane, just to throw the caution as he's about to take the white flag? Why? Why wait so long? This is why I say, even when NASCAR makes the right decisions, it's wrong. Somehow, they always mess up. And this week, it was in the Xfinity race. Now, I'm not saying they messed up in the sense that they threw the caution. I'm saying there was so much confusion. There were reporters for NASCAR tweeting that Parker Kligerman had won the race and that Sam Mayer and whoever else has been eliminated. And then all of a sudden, the graphic on the broadcast says overtime. And the guys in the booth are like, I guess we're going to overtime. And it took them so long to get the image to show us where the caution light was and where the car was when the caution was thrown. And I very rarely agree with the color commentary in the NBC booth. I believe it was Jeff Burton who was saying it is completely unacceptable to have a caution system where we rely on lights to tell us when the caution is out, but have that system be a second slow from when the button is actually pushed. That is completely unacceptable. It should be instantaneous because the fans at home need to know when the caution was thrown. Because to us, it looked like they threw it as close to the start-finish line as they could. Now, in reality, it was only about 100 feet back. So it was still a ridiculous time to throw the caution. Like, just throw it when you see the car underneath the tire barrier. And this isn't a problem. Nobody cares. Because it is authentic. It is a real caution. You see a car under the tire barrier, you go, oh yeah, that's why there's a caution. That makes sense. Not show us the car under the tire barrier and then wait and wait and wait and wait. And it's going to be the last lap. No, we're going to throw the caution. It doesn't make sense. That's the Xfinity side of things. We'll go over points and everything tomorrow. We got things to talk about the actual race. Then, the Cup race on Sunday. Shane Van Gisbergen with his first career pole in a NASCAR Cup Series race. But the race was dominated by Kyle Larson. And I mean dominated. Larson led a race-high 62 laps. He earned 48 points in the race, tied for the most points earned in the race with his teammate, Chase Elliott. This is where things get weird. I told you at the beginning of the program that somebody got disqualified. It was the number 48 car, Alex Bowman, for Hendrick Motorsports. He was disqualified from the Roval. The reason being, The car weighed too light when he went on to the post-race scale. Now, like I said, this is not something that you would have known if you were watching the broadcast because it didn't happen during the broadcast. It happened a few hours after. So NASCAR disqualifies Alex Bowman. And because of that decision, and because I guess it wasn't really a decision. He broke a rule. The car did not weigh enough. Well, him disqualifying that race gave him 0 points on the day, which put the 22 car of Joey Logano into the playoffs. Logano started the day out of the playoffs. Logano started the day and ended the day out of the top 8. But because of the disqualification by Alex Bowman, which is really sad, by the way, because Bowman had been having a very, very good playoff, considering how subpar his regular season was, some of the conversations surrounding him about, hey, is Alex Bowman going to be back in this 48 car next year? He had such a good run in the playoffs that it is a shame to see him go. Here's the statement from Hendrick Motorsports on a possible appeal. Hendrick Motorsports will not appeal the disqualification of the number 48 car following Sunday's race at the Charlotte Roval. NASCAR allows a clear margin to account for the difference in pre- and post-race weight. After a thorough review by our team and the sanctioning body, we simply did not give ourselves enough margin to meet the post-race requirement. Although unintentional, the infraction was avoidable. We are extremely disappointed to lose a playoff spot under these circumstances and apologize to our fans and our partners. Man, Hendrick Motorsports dropping the ball for their driver, Alex Bowman. But all we can do is look ahead, right? And we look ahead to this coming weekend where NASCAR is going to be back out west. Yes, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Here are the points as we head into that round. Kyle Larson with a clean 33-point advantage on the cut line. Christopher Bell is plus 13. Tyler Reddick plus 10. And William Byron plus 4. Ryan Blaney is that fifth driver, 4 points out. Denny Hamlin minus 8. Chase Elliott minus 9. And the lucky man himself, Joey Logano, starts the final round 11 points below the cut line. 3 very good races coming up for the NASCAR Cup Series. We go to Las Vegas this weekend, then it's Homestead, Miami, and then Martinsville to decide who is going to be in the Final Four. As we do every day, we wrap things up with a This Day in Sports History. Now, we do not have much time, but we do have time for one, and the most important thing that happened on this day in 2003, a little-known man named Steve Bartman deflected a ball away from Moises Alou. The Cubs then give up 8 runs in the inning, lose 8-3, and Steve Bartman became public enemy number 1 in Chicago. That was on this day. On this day in 2003. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to the Scoreboard. I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, have a good night, everyone.